When you see a successful app or a new online service that just seems to work perfectly, do you ever stop and wonder, how did they even come up with that? It can feel a little bit like magic, right? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. There's actually a recipe, a kind of DNA behind every single great digital idea. And that DNA is made of three core ingredients: innovation, entrepreneurship, and sometimes a huge dose of disruption. Today, that's exactly what we're going to decode together. But before we jump in, it's really important to me that we give a massive shout out to the person whose work is the whole inspiration for this explainer, Akwasi Ruben Aboaje. This is a man who's been a true pioneer in IT education across Africa. He's literally helped to build the foundation for so many of today's tech creators. So as we explore these ideas, just know that we're really standing on the shoulders of giants like him. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on three big ideas you absolutely have to know. Then, we'll talk about why technology is the engine behind all of this. We'll see it all come to life with a really cool case study on a company called SlidePay. After that, we're going to look ahead to the future. And finally, we'll talk about how you can get in on the action. Okay, let's get right into it. Part 1, the three key ideas. I want you to think of these as the fundamental vocabulary, the language of creation in the digital age. Once you really get these, everything else just starts to click into place. All right, first word on our list, innovation. Now, I know, this word gets thrown around constantly, but in the world of IT, it has a very specific, very important meaning. It's not just about having a cool new idea in the shower. It's about the entire process of actually creating something new or taking something that already exists and making it way, way better. And here's the key, the most important part. It has to solve a real problem for real people. So, how can you tell if something is truly innovative? Well, it pretty much has to check three boxes. First, it's got to have novelty. It needs to be new, or at least a really fresh take. Second, and this is huge, it has to create value. It must solve a problem that people actually have. And third, people have to adopt it. A brilliant solution that nobody uses, well, it's just a clever idea, not an innovation. A powerful example of this from Ghana is empathising. They developed tech to fight counterfeit medicines. You can use your phone to verify if your medicine is legit. That's not just innovation, that's a lifesaver. Okay, so if innovation is the spark, that brilliant idea itself, then our next word, entrepreneurship, is the fire. Entrepreneurship is the how. It's the whole messy, exciting process of taking that innovative spark and building a living, breathing business around it. It's about designing it, launching it, and then the really hard part, scaling it up. This is all about taking action and being willing to take some smart, calculated risks. So what really makes an entrepreneur tech? Well, for one, you've got to be pretty comfortable with risk-taking, right? You're often placing a bet on something that hasn't been proven yet. You also need to be opportunity-driven. That means having this special radar for spotting gaps in the market that everyone else just walks right past. And maybe most of all, you have to be incredibly resourceful, making amazing things happen with limited time and money. A perfect example is Farmerline in Ghana. They saw that farmers needed better info, weather forecasts, market prices, you name it, and they built an entire business to fill that gap. That is entrepreneurship in action. And that brings us to our third and final key idea, disruptive technology. Okay, this one is a real game changer, literally. Think of it this way. Innovation might be building a faster horse. Disruption is inventing the car. See the difference? It's not about playing the same game better than your competitors. It's about changing the rules of the game so completely that the old way of doing things becomes obsolete. So what does disruption look like out in the wild? Well, it totally transforms markets. You've seen this happen. Just think about streaming services versus the old video rental stores. It's not even a competition anymore. A key feature is accessibility. Disruption often makes something cheaper, simpler, and available to way more people. It might start out small and a little niche, but then it grows exponentially. A classic African example that changed the world is M-Pesa. Before M-Pesa, banking was complicated and out of reach for millions. Then, all of a sudden, you could do it all from a basic mobile phone. It didn't just compete with banks. It fundamentally disrupted how people interact with money. Okay, let's do a quick recap just to make sure all this sticks. So innovation is all about the creation of a new solution, like M-Pedigree did. Entrepreneurship is about building a sustainable business around that solution, like Farmerline. And disruptive tech, that's about fundamentally changing the entire market, like M-Pesa. They're three different concepts, but you can see how they often work together. And when they do, that's when you get something truly special. All right, so we've got our three key ideas down. But there's a common thread, right? A powerful engine that runs through all of them. And that is information technology, or IT. So in this next section, let's really dig into why tech isn't just another tool anymore. It's the absolute central nervous system of any modern business. So let's just pause and really think about this for a second. What is it about IT that makes it so indispensable? How did we go from IT being the department you call when your printer's jammed to IT being the very engine that drives the entire company forward? Let's break that down. It really boils down to 5 key transformations. First, technology automates and simplifies. It takes all those boring, repetitive tasks and just does them, which reduces human error and frees people up to be more creative. Second, it connects us and lets us collaborate. I mean, think about tools like Zoom or Slack. You can have a team spread across the entire planet working together as if they're in the same room. Third, it informs us and helps us predict what's next. We're surrounded by data, and IT gives us the power to make sense of it all and make way smarter decisions. Fourth, IT allows a business to expand and reach customers anywhere. Your small business isn't limited to your neighborhood anymore. E-commerce opens up the entire world. And finally, number 5, it secures and protects. In a digital-first world, cybersecurity isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. Okay, theory is great, but there is nothing like seeing how it all works in the real world. So for our third section, we are going to do a deep dive into a fantastic case study, Slide to Pay. This is an amazing Ghanaian success story that perfectly shows how all these pieces, innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology, can come together to create something incredible. Now, this is a really fascinating way to look at things. We all remember how, during the pandemic, the whole world suddenly needed Zoom for remote work, right? That was the global catalyst. But in Ghana, the pandemic created a different, very specific need, a massive push towards cashless payments. And SlidePay was perfectly positioned for that exact moment. But they scaled up differently. Zoom used a freemium model, give away a basic version for free. SlidePay's genius was in focusing on building strong, strategic partnerships with local merchants. It's a perfect example of how the same global event can create unique local opportunities. And wow, did they ever seize that opportunity? Just look at this number. Between 2016 and 2021, their user base, that's the number of people actively using the service, grew by a mind-boggling 4,900%. That's not just growth, that is a rocket ship. But hold on, it gets even crazier. As incredible as that user growth was, this next number is even more stunning. The number of merchants, the shops, the vendors, the businesses using SlidePay to accept payments grew by nearly 10,000%. I mean, that's just staggering. So what does all of that explosive growth actually add up to? It adds up to this, a thriving ecosystem of over 500,000 active users. And all of this happened because SlidePay wasn't just chasing a cool tech trend. They were laser-focused on solving a real local problem. How can we make going cashless simple, secure, and accessible for everybody? So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur watching this, what are the key lessons here? What's the SlidePay playbook? Lesson 1, don't reinvent the wheel. They brilliantly built their service right on top of the existing mobile money infrastructure. Super smart. Lesson 2, play by the rules. Getting that official stamp of approval from the Bank of Ghana was absolutely crucial for building trust. And lesson 3, and this is so important, technology alone is never enough. They actually invested time and money into educating their merchants on how to use the platform. That's what drives real adoption. Okay, so we've looked at the foundational principles and we've seen the proof in action with SlidePay. Now it's time to shift our gaze forward to the horizon. Let's talk about the future, which really is already here. What are the big waves of technology that are creating the next frontier for innovators right now? Right now, there are 3 massive trends you absolutely need to have on your radar: artificial intelligence, or AI, blockchain, and the Internet of Things, or IoT. And this isn't science fiction. This stuff is happening right now across Africa. You have AI enhancing decision-making, like how M-Pharma in Ghana uses it to optimize their supply chain. You have blockchain creating secure and transparent transactions. Just think about the potential of projects like the eSeti. And you have IoT collecting real-time data with incredible ventures like Trotro Tractor. For each of these trends, you can start brainstorming startup ideas today. An AI tutor for local languages, a blockchain app for land titles, IoT sensors for farmers. The possibilities are just endless. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section.
We've talked a lot about other people's ideas and other companies' success, but now it's time to turn that spotlight right back on you. We've given you the vocabulary, we've shown you the framework, we've shared some inspiration. This is the call to action. It is your turn to innovate. So I want to leave you with a question to really chew on, and I mean it. Really think about this. What's a problem in your community, your neighborhood, your city that just drives you crazy? Something you see every single day and you think to yourself, there has to be a better way. Now look at these powerful tools we've talked about, AI, blockchain, IoT. Could one of them be the key to solving that problem? Because the next world-changing, disruptive, innovative idea, it doesn't have to come from Silicon Valley. It can, and it absolutely should, start with you, right where you are.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And I just want to end exactly where we began, with a huge, heartfelt thank you to Akwasi Ruben Abagye. His pioneering work is what makes conversations like this possible, and it continues to light the way for the next generation of Africa's digital leaders. Thanks for watching.